The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
I know you, your past, your future.
Welcome back, Imperials, Xbox people, and anybody else who's playing. Welcome to the show. This is the new month of Xbox Empire, the state of Xbox Empire. And joining me this evening is our very own Mr. Kevin Austin. Kevin, welcome to the Imperial side.
I think I walked in the wrong room. I was looking for the Nintendo Shack, and there was a long dark hallway, and then you told me to psst, come here, and it's weird, but thanks.
I mean, it was a long, dark hallway, and then I ignited my glow directional saber, we'll call it, and then you ran the opposite direction, and I was just trying to be like, hey, come this way, but you ran away. But you're here now. That's the important thing.
But the cloak is creepy. You can't just sneak up to people like that in the hallway.
But I have candy in the cloak.
Oh, well, now we're talking.
Can't argue with candy.
Cannot argue with candy. And the other voice that you're hearing, our guest for this month, is none other than Mitch Power. Welcome to the show.
Howdy. Yeah, I got, again, some Jedi message showed up in my DM box, and they were just, some dude was just like, hey, you should show up during this time. And I was like, I guess. I heard there was candy there, so I showed up. So is there candy, though? Because if not, I got some other stuff.
Everybody look under your chairs!
We all got candy, yay!
And the listeners, too. If you look under your chairs, if you're driving, you'll crash. But if you're working, you'll find something. I don't know what.
Maybe, yeah. And if there's candy under there, don't ask us how it got there.
Strangers have the best candy.
Look at your cubicle neighbor and just you be weirded out.
Yes. There might be a malted milk ball. Those sometimes find their ways under chairs. It's one of those weird things that just happens. Anyway.
Or that neighbor put gum under your chair. That's not candy. Don't eat that.
Don't.
Exactly.
Don't eat that. That'd be bad.
All right. So, gentlemen, thank you for joining us for this month's episode. And since you both are new to the program, the initiation question, if you will, I'll begin with you, Kevin, because why not? And the question is, what is your first Xbox experience that you can remember? And what is your favorite moment on the Xbox platform?
All right, so my first introduction to the Xbox, which was short-lived, and then there was a long break, and then now I'm back with the the S, rather, was I was actually at a Best Buy event back in the day. You might remember those sweet swag parties sometimes people got invited to, Nate. I don't know if you were...
I never got invited to a sweet swag party, but weren't you in Minneapolis? Or where were you?
At the time where this happened, I was in Miami, actually.
Okay.
So.
Well, you were in the bigger cities.
Yeah, we went around, we traveled, and I didn't do Minneapolis, but we were in Orlando, and we were at one of the conference shows, and Microsoft was showing off the Xbox 360s shortly before it came out, along with the initial run of the Surface tablets, and they were kind of showing off these things here. And at the end, they did this long presentation. We were there for like 3 or 4 hours. They're like, oh, by the way, you're all just getting one. And we're like, well, which one? Are we getting the Surface or the thing? Like, you're getting both of them. So I was like, sweet. Free console. I'm not going to complain there.
So that was the Oprah moment for you, wasn't it?
Yes, it was very much a look under your chair moment. So got home. Now, I had already been a deep-rooted Nintendo and Sony guy, so looking at what the landscape had there, I picked up Alan Wake. And that was the first game I played on an Xbox console, and I absolutely loved that game. So that was my first exposure into the Xbox. It didn't stick very long, but I did play through it there. That was a favorite memory?
Yeah.
Okay, so a good buddy of mine who was, up until very recently, hardcore Xbox only gamer, had exposed me to the Gears of War series, and we played all of the first 3 co-op together, couch co-op style, old school. Played through all 3 of those games together, and I absolutely love that series. That's a great series too, so I really enjoyed doing that. But that's a fond memory I have there with the old Xbox 360.
Cool. So, since you've got the Xbox One now, have you gone back to revisit the Gear series? There's been, 2 more games since you played through the trilogy.
Yes, I played through the trilogy. I have not replayed any of them, but I do have them all available to me between Game Pass and digital purchases. I just can't seem to get away from PUBG and Fortnite. So, and Far Cry 5 now, but yeah.
I hear that. For me, like, PUBG is always calling my name, but right now Ghost Recon's been got my number pretty bad because
nice.
that game is fantastic. All right, Mitch, why don't you tell us what your first experience for the Xbox platform was and your favorite memory?
So initially, around the time the original Xbox came out, I was actually at a point where I wasn't as into video games as I am today. I was more into skateboarding because skateboarding was life for like 4 years of high school or whatever. But around that time, my buddies who were very well off and they lived kind of, you have those rich buddies that live out of town in the woods, like, they're fancy. Anyways, he's like, hey, I just got an Xbox and I got Halo. You should come over and stay over for the weekend and we can play it. And I had no idea what the hell either of those two things were. So I was just like, all right, whatever. So show up at his house and there's a ton of people there. People I've never met. Like, apparently all the other rich people who live in the random woods all came over to his house because they all bought Halo, they all bought 4 controllers, and they all were system linking in his house. So initially that was my very first intro to anything Xbox, and pretty much right after that I was like, wow, that was amazing. That controller's awful, but that game is amazing. Because we all had 4 Dukes, which, geez, dude, just put them together and that's a weapon. Like, it's just ridiculous. But no, we just played that and just the whole screaming throughout the house. Like, they had, they had it in different rooms. So they had like 2 in the basement, but they had these super long crossover cables, and like they would take them upstairs. So you'd be playing, you'd kill somebody, and you'd hear just upstairs just stomping and screaming. And I'm just like, this is the craziest thing ever. This is, pre-internet gaming to me, at least. I mean, obviously PC had it for a while, but no, that was literally like the day the Xbox came out, I was able to play System Link Halo, and it's like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Obviously, I wasn't into I was still into skateboarding, so I was just like, is Tony Hawk on this thing? And then he told me yes. I was like, all right, cool. But no, Halo 1. As far as favorite memory goes, it's hard just because I primarily play on Xbox, and I have since basically when I got back into gaming after high school and stuff, I was primarily an Xbox gamer. But Halo 2 multiplayer, just, I could go on of the ridiculous things that happened. I played it every single day for a year straight. There was not a day where I didn't stop. I played Christmas. I played birthdays, anniversaries, everything. And just ridiculous memories with that. Just all the new things that were happening at the time. Proximity chat, matchmaking, clans, just like, it was just the greatest times. Also, I had less responsibilities and less children, so it was a lot easier to play things back then. But there's still, like, I have tons of memories, and, like I said, Xbox has been my primary console for ever since I got back into gaming right around 2004-ish. So, I mean, I have Gears of War memories, Rock Band memories, just tons of fun memories on my Xbox.
Nice. So, the first day that like the Xbox came out, you were playing Halo, and you were exposed to System Link, and like you said, like that stood out and it kind of blew your mind a little bit. So what was your KD? Do you remember?
Jeez, it was terrible. It was terrible, dude. Like, the thing is like at the time we were all kind of experiencing it at first, because like Halo was the game that made the dual stick shooter happen. You know what I mean? Like, everybody had GoldenEye and stuff. So like, if you were playing GoldenEye, you at least had experience with it. I didn't. I had a PlayStation. I didn't have a 64. I'd never really gotten to Perfect Dark or GoldenEye or any of those. Now, if I go back and play them, I can't because they're just not good games. Sorry. But no, I was awful. I was terrible. And then, of course, after you play over and over and over, you get better. Halo 2, I got considerably better at. I know it was at least over a 1. I wasn't negative KD at all. I know that because I definitely that wasn't going to work. I was like, no, I can't have this. So I grinded Halo 2 considerably better. But no, later on in life, I've gotten to the point where I'm old and I suck at games, so my KD is not as good anymore.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, while this is not a video podcast, the guy with all the Xbox memories has a giant Kingdom Hearts poster right next to him. I
do. I do. Yeah, I have that. I also have a Gears of War scroll, and you also my Gears of War statues and my Halo statues.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'll just face the camera towards my TV and stuff, and you'll be like, he doesn't like Kingdom Hearts at all. Yeah, that was the other thing too when Kingdom Hearts 3 got announced for Xbox One, and I literally went, well, that's not real. Someone put a typo
Right,
there.
yeah.
Because no other Kingdom Hearts is on Xbox. They wouldn't do that, and they are. And I'm like, cool. So they're going to re-release all the other Kingdom Hearts for Xbox, and that's not going to happen. So.
Nope.
Yes, just to be clear, gigantic Kingdom Hearts fan, but also I only keep things for my 3 favorite franchises, which are Halo, Gears, and Kingdom Hearts. Everything else, I'm like, I'll play it and beat it and get rid of it and be cool.
So you don't get the collector's items usually, or the if Shadow of the Tomb Raider comes out, right, or Spider-Man comes out and it has that limited edition, you're not going for that. You're only going for it if it's Gears or something like that.
100%. Yeah, I don't go for the only other game I almost did it for was Titanfall, which is actually fine because I'm wearing a Titanfall 2 shirt. I love Titanfall. I got the Titanfall official Xbox controller, but yeah, if it's anything limited edition for Gears, Halo, Kingdom Hearts, those are the 3 that are like I have to get those. Otherwise, I'm like, I have limited edition controllers for like Sea of Thieves, Titanfall. I have the Halo 5, the Halo ones, the Gears ones, the Elite. But like, yeah, I mean, sometimes I see some stuff and I'm like, that's cool. But I also know I'm just going to trade it in and get rid of it. So, or sometimes if it's really cool, depending on what it is, you can wait until it goes like stupid clearance and then just like Skyrim, for example. I worked at Best Buy. And the Skyrim special edition that had the dragon statue and our book and all that stuff went down to clearance for $50.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Bought that, didn't like Skyrim, found out I'm just like, I just don't. The dragons and all that stuff, I'm not that into. I'm just like, all right, that's fine. And then I ended up selling the statue for more than I paid for just the game. So I was
that's
like,
the way
all
to
right,
do it.
cool. I was like, that works. That's fine.
Nice. So Kevin, we're slowly building this collective of former Best Buy employees.
I know, right? Survivors.
Yeah.
Because over at PSVG, we have there's at least 3 of us. Is there a 4th? There might be a 4th.
Me,
Isn't
you,
Josh?
Devin, and Josh. Yeah, Josh and I worked together for a while, for a few years. So
We're gonna have to have a Survivor cast for Best Buy survivors.
Oh man, I'm sure you could have a podcast of just tell us your worst Black Friday story. Tell us the most ridiculous customer you have to deal with at Geek Squad. Yeah, you could have a podcast just off that. Well, at least a one-off. You know what I mean?
You know, I actually kind of enjoyed the Black Friday stuff. Like that was actually kind of fun to
it was
me.
insane. It was.
It depends on what leg of it you were on.
Yeah.
But if you were, yeah. I mean, there's some really awful stories that I have, but like I worked the Black Friday. The morning was cool because most people like got it. You know, most people were like, I know this is ridiculous. I know the lines are ridiculous. But then you get those people that roll in at like noon, like, you got any of those doorbusters left? I'm like,
Yeah.
are you out of
You got
your
that
mind?
big TV.
Yeah, where's that 50-inch TV for $75?
Yo, you guys still got that Xbox 360 with 27 games for $2? Come on.
Exactly. I mean, I always thought that was pretty funny how people would come and try to find that. But, you know, there were times when you could kind of stroll into a store like a Walmart or whatever late in the day, and you just come across, like, in a random spot, they have, like, those items just, like, hidden somewhere almost.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Those are interesting times, but I do think that's for a different podcast. We should have some Best Buy memories, maybe for Black Friday,
definitely.
around that
Invite
time.
me back at that. I'll tell you the most ridiculous stuff.
Because I worked at Best Buy and then I worked at Circuit City after that for a little while, so I have both sides of that coin.
I did Toys R Us, so Toys R Us and Best Buy. So
Oh my God.
yeah,
I did Best Buy and Game Crazy, which Game Crazy's definitely gone. So
Yeah,
I have those two stories. So
You can do an RIP Game Crazy. There you go.
yeah, RIP podcast, and it's just basically Toys R Us, Game Crazy, and
I know.
Oh, no.
Circuit City. Just do all three.
That'd be great. All right, so let's kind of segue into our topic of the week that we have this week, and that is dealing with Xbox Play Anywhere titles or the Xbox crossplay, things that are interesting to have, but are they really used is the biggest question, you know what I mean? So for us personally, what's our experience been with Xbox Play Anywhere or crossplay games? And for me, my biggest experience is, so my Windows 10 computer it's got a decent graphics card, and it's a 970 or whatever NVIDIA. I don't even know. I'm not a PC gamer. Dev's like yelling at my ear right now. He's not even listening to this. It says Empire. He's not coming on it.
That's true. That's true.
He's not listening. So I have a 970 graphics card. It can put out 4K. It can do some decent stuff. It's not the best. It's not like a 1080 top of the line or anything like that. And I've had that for a little while after I got my PC. And I bought digitally like Forza Horizon 3. And that was one of the first titles that I had experience with the Xbox Play Anywhere. So I played it on my Xbox, and I was like, "This is great. This is a fantastic game. It looks good. It runs well. I want to see just how this Play Anywhere works." And so I launched it up on my computer. I had the digital copy. So what the nice thing about Play Anywhere titles, if you don't know, is you can buy it digitally once, and you have it to install on both your Windows computer and your Xbox One. So if you have it digitally, you get double copies pretty much. And you're able to cross-play with people who are on Xbox or Windows 10. And it's seamless. You don't really necessarily know who's on where. You just know that you're playing with your buddy, and you can do party chats and everything, and it works really well. It's a great ecosystem. So I wanted to check this out, just to see how good it was. I booted it up, and it looked better, obviously, because I could put out 4K. And at that time, the Xbox One X was not yet out. So this is my first time really messing around with 4K, the higher frame rates, and all this other stuff. And it looked great. It looked fantastic. I was really enjoying everything I saw, and it controlled really well. The coolest stuff, though, was the fact that I could put this in, just like I said, fresh installed, and it downloaded my game save content from my Xbox One, and I was, boom, right there, able to pick up that next race, able to just drive around and collect my cars. My garage was all the same. Everything was the same, but I was playing on my computer. And then I was able to open up my party chat and say, "Hey, do you want to do a quick race?" And my other friend was on Xbox One, and we were able to race. I didn't even tell him that I was on a PC, and it just worked until after the fact I told him that I was on a PC, and it looked really great. So that was my first experience with the Xbox Play Anywhere or the crossplay functionality. And to me, it was seamless. It worked really well. Obviously, Microsoft makes both the Windows platforms and the Xbox One, so they have this wealth of knowledge behind the machine that can make this kind of thing happen. And the fact that they've done it, and it works really well, and that it's really kind of unsung at this point. Like, nobody is really championing the Xbox Play Anywhere, and I, for a long time, have been like singing the praises of it. But not many people who are PC gamers pay any attention to the Windows Store or care about the games that are on there.
Yeah.
Unless it's like Sea of Thieves possibly, or the latest Gears, or if Halo comes out, they'll pay attention to that. But there's not a ton of games. Like, not every game is cross-buy, so just a select few. So obviously, like your Microsoft first-party games. But as far as the third-party type stuff, the last one I can remember is Shadow of War. Shadow of War, yeah. I was gonna say Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I was like, that's not out yet. So, what have you guys noticed or done, or have you had any experience yet with this crossplay or with the Play Anywhere program? Let's go with you, Mitch.
So as far as it goes, the only thing I will say is that as me personally, I've primarily been a console player. Like, I mostly play on, because I just prefer sitting down controller consoles. I've never been as big of a PC gamer. I started looking into, of course, podcasting and possibly doing video editing. So I ended up getting a desktop and actually getting a graphics card. And I'm like, all right, cool. Let's just test out some stuff. So I personally, when a game comes out, for the most part, unless I know for an absolute fact I am going to keep it, I usually buy it physically, and then so I can trade it in. However, obviously I already talked about how big of a Gears fan I am, so of course I have that digitally. Went to go play that on my computer, and again, this is just me personally, my computer was so underpowered compared to my Xbox that it just ran awful. Like, and again, the fact that it was like available, I just go to the Windows Store and it was there, and I was like, that's cool. I download and install it, and it downloaded my save file. I'm like, perfect. But then when I went to go play it, I was just like, yeah, I might want to go back and play it on my Xbox. The one game that I found that did work, I was like able to play that worked well was Cuphead. So I was able to I was like, oh, hey, hopefully my computer doesn't slow down when I play Cuphead, because then I probably bought a bad computer. But started playing Cuphead, same thing, installed it, worked perfect, pulled my save file, was playing it, and then I progressed a little on my computer just to see if it would match up and everything. And I go back to my Xbox, and it matched up perfectly fine. I just resync the download, and it all worked. So I'm the one thing that I like, you kind of mentioned how it doesn't get the praise is because, and it sucks to say this, but it's the Windows Store. To be honest, if it was in, and I understand completely, Microsoft doesn't have to pay Steam anything if they release it on their own store. It makes it easier for tracking digital licenses and makes it easier for the save files. I completely get it. The only problem is if you try to tell people not to play something on Steam, they're not too thrilled with it. Like they just want it to be on Steam because they have all their other games there, and it's easier for them to play it through there. I mean, when Origin came out, for example, people lost it. They're like, what is this? What are we doing? What is Origin? Why do we have to have this? So I eventually, I think it'll obviously pick up steam. I think the big thing is when you tell people that it works both ways like that when you tell people that, and especially if they have a powerful enough PC to where, before the X came out especially, how Gears 4 was in 4K when it wasn't available on 4K because the X wasn't out. Like, you tell people that, and they're like, oh, man, I didn't even know you can do that. And I just think if they message, and, they try to message it as best they can, but also they're just putting out the game, and they're just kind of saying, hey, just to let you know it does this. It says it clears day on boxes and digital cards that you buy and stuff. Like, it tells you, but I think the only thing holding it back more is just the Windows Store, because people just don't want to go through another avenue to get games again, unfortunately.
Do you think that if it was Xbox Play Anywhere and it was more published on the Microsoft Game Store, because would you say that the Microsoft on the Xbox, the Game Store on there for the digital front is a little bit more accessible and a little bit more understanding, but do you think people on the Xbox are really even caring about Play Anywhere titles?
I mean, I would say just because they have hardware in front of them that they know for a fact will run it decently, I don't think when they're on the Xbox, they buy it and they're just like, I'm just buying it to play it in front of me. You know what I mean? Like, if it was more advertised, like, by the way, if it like was in some sort of like bold, like, will also work on Windows 10, I think they'd say that's cool. But I mean, I just think if people are buying it on their Xbox, they're more just happy that they have it in front of them and they don't have to worry about it. Now, more or less so when it comes to the X, because the X runs things so damn well that, like, I have a $500 Xbox One X that runs Gears in 4K. I couldn't do that on my computer. So, I mean, that's why I think it's a cool concept. Again, it's just, it depends on the type of gamer that you are. Whether or not that's something that you the big thing is the portability factor. If you have a portable, like a laptop or a tablet like a Surface Pro that is capable of running that well, then it's much better of an investment. But I mean, me personally, my desktop is right in front of me. My Xbox is 2 feet right there. Like, obviously my Xbox One X runs any game better than my PC is. So for me, it just depends on the situation. I think if they marketed it more, they could prevent themselves from people buying it physically and being able to trade it in, because that's obviously the perk. Some people made the thing, why don't you do that with physical games? Why do you think? Because you're going to trade it in, and then how can they prove you don't own it anymore? Like, it's just, You know what I mean? Like, use common sense. But if they marketed it more on the digital front, like, they may entice, or if they had like just even a subcategory on the store that said Play Anywhere games. So you click that and it even says works on both, and they were clear as day about it and said these are all the games that do that. It may entice people to maybe want to purchase those games, or at least purchase them digitally.
So they do have that on the Xbox store. Like
They
you
have
can-
like a Play Anywhere section.
Yep. So they have like little
Oh, okay.
categories. You can kind of scroll down. There's Xbox One X enhanced category, and then there's, if you keep on scrolling, Xbox Play Anywhere.
Okay.
So you can actually see a full list of games there, which is actually, like, to your point, if it was advertised, maybe that would draw more people in. To me, if I see a game that's on there, and on the list it says, "Hey, I have a game that I want to buy. I could buy it on my PlayStation or I could buy it on my Xbox, but I do often travel and I have a laptop that's decent. Maybe I want to buy this here, and then I can play Cuphead on the go or something like
Totally.
that."
Yep.
Obviously, Cuphead's a bad example because it's not on PlayStation, at least not yet. But Shadow of War, we'll go with that.
Right.
That is a game that could influence the decisions on.
I think, well, the only other problem is that 90% of the games that are on Play Anywhere are Microsoft exclusive
Right.
games. So, I mean, if there was more third-party support, then you could pull people away from buying it on PlayStation rather, if a customer, say, owned both. You know what I mean?
Right.
The only other thing you have to fight is if, say, they're more a PC gamer, if they can buy it on Steam or
Steam
if
for
it's just a
cheaper.
Windows Store.
Yep.
Right. So that's the only other thing you run across too. I think as far as third party support goes, like Shadow of War, Resident Evil 7, Snake Pass, like I
Yeah,
don't-
some
like,
indies. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like some that are on there that are Play Anywhere and all. I think We Happy Few is one of them. But I mean, the thing is like most of the games that you get on Play Anywhere, you're also not having an option to play
Yeah.
on the PlayStation or even sometimes on Steam. Like for a long time, Ori and the Blind Forest came out, and I don't think a Steam version came out right away, and people were just livid. They were just like, just please release it on Steam. Oh no, it was Quantum Break.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Quantum Break came out initially. It was only on the Windows Store. People were all sorts of pissy because they like to be, because it's the internet. And then eventually it came out on Steam's. But yeah, that's the only. If they had more of the third-party support, which to be honest, Shadow of the Tomb Raider could be one of those games, just because of Microsoft's relations with Square. They wouldn't do the whole. Obviously, they already said it's coming out on PS4 and PC or
Yeah,
whatever, so
same
they're not
time.
going to lock it down. But they could say, but it's Play Anywhere on us, so that way Microsoft still has that goodwill with Square on this, Tomb Raider franchise.
So, Kevin, what experience have you had with Play Anywhere type games?
So when I first got the Xbox One S, one of the games I was most excited to play right off the bat was in fact Cuphead. Being the old school growing up gaming person as I was, with the NES, SNES, I'm like, these are those games that like are so hard for people who didn't grow up playing those types of games that I wanted to experience it. So booted up. That was one of the very first games downloaded, started playing it, and found that sitting as far away from my TV as I do in the living room, it wasn't very conducive to playing Cuphead very well. Like the reactionary time, being able to see everything as stuff's flying all over the screen. I was like, well, let me try and boot it up on the PC and see if I can do a little bit better, a little bit closer. I got my Xbox 360 controller, I just plugged that in and go with it. And it worked great, flawless. The graphics still looked good. It ran just fine. I didn't have any problems with that. But I did also then at that point try a few other things. I tried the Zoo Tycoon that they have. I tried that and that looked fine. But that was a game that was basically rooted in PC in the first place and kind of just adapted to Xbox. So that was expected. I did try and do Forza. My computer could not handle that, so I didn't. I probably could have scaled down some of the settings and made it work because my computer's still new. It's a little over a year at this point. But I just didn't mess with it 'cause I'm like, I really don't want to play here. I just want to see what would work. And then as far as playing with people, kind of cross-play, I played Sea of Thieves on my Xbox with people who were playing on PC, though. And there wasn't really, and we knew they were playing on PC, so it wasn't one of those things where we didn't know. And there wasn't really any issues. They didn't have an advantage. They didn't do anything faster. There wasn't any lag time on our end or their end for the most part. The only thing we did notice is that it seemed that PC players actually had much quicker load times. So getting into the game, that initial lobby when you show up in the tavern, they got in like that, where you're still kind of waiting the 2 minutes almost on the Xbox. So did notice that. And I think the only other thing that I really played, which it doesn't really count for the Xbox Play Anywhere crossplay, would be the whole Fortnite thing, because you're playing through Epic Games, but you're still playing PC players and Xbox players if your friends linked up. So I've done that quite a few times, and I mean, we all know with aiming that PC players have the edge if they're using a keyboard and mouse. So kind of get a little edge there, but that's about it. As far as frame rates and like that, I don't see any issues there.
I was going to say that with Gears, because I do Gears 4 multiplayer, and at first it was only, so they were testing the waters, so initially it only had crossplay with the campaign, which made complete sense because there was no competitive edge for going against one another. So they did it originally a campaign, which I did do with my buddy, and it worked great. Like, I had no problems. And then they slowly started opening the floodgates for multiplayer. Like, they were like, okay, well, we'll let you do private matches. Let's see how that works.
Yeah.
And then I think, unfortunately, when the Gears like player count started going down, like they were like, all right, whatever, and they opened up floodgates to whatever, and like you can basically do all the multiplayer stuff now. As far as it goes, the only thing is keyboard mouse. I mean, you kind of got to work with it, but also too, Gears isn't as twitchy.
It's definitely a clunkier, heavy
so
shooter.
It definitely is. So it's not as like, you feel like, oh my God, I can't get an advantage or whatever. Like, it's still like, you still have a lot of skill that's involved, but also too, just, it's not like a first person shooter or whatever.
Yeah.
So, no, like I've done that. And again, you can tell they're playing on PC because the text bubbles come up, like the text from them typing comes up instead of them just being on the party chat or in the game chat. But I mean, the campaign worked well, and yeah, just again, Microsoft knows how to do their services. Like they're more becoming a service company, almost more than anything else. So they've gotten their stuff down and they know how to do it well. So yeah, I mean, I didn't have any problems with the crossplay stuff. I've done some of the crossplay with like Rocket League and stuff, like you just said, you know, with Fortnite and stuff. I've done Rocket League, which I mean, it's like, this is cool, but obviously it's not Microsoft based. You know, it's all based on Psyonix and Epic and for Fortnite and all that.
I think the biggest thing, and why I think it's not gaining the amount of traction or enough people aren't talking about, is kind of the same thing that almost seems to plague Xbox for at least the last couple of years. I think the marketing, they don't market their stuff out there. Like, if you're an Xbox person, you know. And I think one of the best examples of something that, like, I mean, it benefits them, but the fact that Sea of Thieves sold that 2 million right off the bat, that didn't count Game Pass. Who was out there buying that game when you could just... And then especially going on weeks afterwards when the kind of negative reviews came out about it and how, you know, there wasn't a ton of content there off the first bat. Like, who was still going out and saying, well, I'll pay $60 for that, like 2 weeks in? Like, it just didn't make sense. Now, that benefits Microsoft, but I think with the Play Anywhere, if they really wanted to market that, they could do something. You know, say, you know, buy this game on the Xbox Store digitally. Obviously, we know that their profit share is bigger if you buy it digital. They're making more money. So slip that in there. Try and entice gamers, even for that option of saying, you know, hey, you buy it here, you can play it there too as well. And for the person, as Nathan mentioned, that business person that might be traveling, I'm going to buy it digital, and then I'm going to play it on the hotel on the go. I did that with Cuphead. I had gone on a business trip, and I played Cuphead on my laptop in the hotel room because there was nothing else to do. I wasn't lugging my my Xbox or my PS4 with me. I could take my Switch, and I took my laptop, and I played Cuphead, and I had no problems with it. But that's something that you really need to kind of push more, I think, to get people out there. And that's kind of just the curse, where if you're an Xbox person, you know, and you're in the know, you know. But if you're a parent, you probably have no idea these things even exist, or, you know, the capabilities there. Because if, you know, I said, okay, it's basically a BOGO. You can buy one, get one free here on this deal. You play it digitally, you play it there.
So in addition to that, too, like you mentioned, the BOGO, you can kind of loop in the conversation about the game sharing here a little bit too in the digital, because when you have this, and you can game share technically with anybody, and if it's a Play Anywhere title, you could technically game share with someone who on a PC. Exactly. So you kind of get that ability to be like, hey, you know, buddy, let's, you know, we're friends since birth, right? We're gonna let's buy one get one free in all these games essentially, because we're doing this digital sharing now. And I know that you're on the Xbox side and I'm on the PC side, but hey, we can still play together. We haven't diverged that much. We still get lunch on the weekends, you know? Yeah. So it's one of those things where, as a service, like you said, Microsoft is really kind of stepping this up, and we know that it's an area that they took a risk on, to be honest, right? This Play
Totally.
Anywhere thing, because they're essentially giving you a free copy of a game for another platform. But at the same time, they're building that library elsewhere. So if you're a PC player, and then all of a sudden you say, I have 20 games on my Xbox One, well, I've been thinking about getting one of these little consoles. I want to play 4K Blu-rays. Let's give it a shot, see what happens. And you can kind of reel them in and be like, I've already got, this one and this one, and come check out Game Pass, and you get all these other games, and they've really kind of reeled you in with those services, and not necessarily the hardware, per se, or the other exclusive quote-unquote games that they have, but really that library that they built up stealthily in your account. So,
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the number one thing Microsoft just wants Microsoft would love for you to buy their hardware, of course, but also 99% of PCs aren't sold by Microsoft. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
What they make their money off of is software and services, which people have quickly realized now. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just, you could argue all day long, like, oh, we've sold 100 million consoles. Hypothetically, any company could say, we sold 100 million consoles. Cool. How many people are actively playing on it? How many people are paying you monthly? How many people are active hours on your system? Because you could sell so many of them, but then if they're sitting there collecting dust, who cares?
Right.
Microsoft would much rather have you in their ecosystem with their services, their software. But it's just a matter of getting to a point where people know it's a thing. If people don't know it's a thing, which that's arguably Microsoft's kind of biggest downfall, is like their marketing. Obviously, when the X launched, or not the X, just the Xbox One launched, their marketing was a complete nightmare and kind of led to where they are now, unfortunately. But obviously, they're getting better at it. But
Yeah.
they would just, and that's why I like how Phil Spencer, he's just like, I don't care how many consoles we sell. I don't care being second place. I just want to make sure everybody is happy with the services. And they've done a lot to make sure that people are getting happy with the services. And this is just another one of those things that they could just throw in and just be like, hey, well, if you buy it digitally, you'll get this copy with us as well. The game sharing thing is huge. The only problem is they can't really advertise game sharing because in a way, like,
It's a loophole.
It's a
that they
loophole,
chose not to
right.
close. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like, and I mean, to be fair, I take full advantage of game sharing because I have 4 Xbox Ones in my house. My son obviously has access to all my games. So if there's a game that I know for sure he's going to want, like Monster Hunter, I'll buy it digitally so that way we can both play it. Microsoft tried to talk about game sharing way back when they first talked about the Xbox and everybody lost their mind. Again, had they marketed it and explained it in a way that was better and easier to understand and clearer, then people would have been more in tune with it and maybe been on board. But the game sharing aspect, that's huge. Also, like you said, the game sharing with somebody on PC. Even the crazier thing is Game Pass games that are Play Anywhere work, which is completely crazy because that's just free on free on free. Like $10 a month, play these, and then it works with game sharing, and it's just like Microsoft would rather have you pay $10 a month and forget about that being on your credit card than you buying a $300 Xbox One
Yeah, totally.
any day.
So, looking again at the Xbox Play Anywhere titles, just wanted to run through this list here just so we can kind of see where we're at and some games that are also coming soon. And if you've played these games and you have anything to add, go ahead and shout it out as we go through. So, A Walk in the Dark, Ark Survival Evolved. I didn't realize that was a Play Anywhere title.
I didn't either until you just said it. My son loves the hell out of that game. I knew it was. I own it because of my son. I knew it was a game preview game that just recently left game preview, so I know that. But that's cool. I mean, my son talks about it all day long. I don't know. It's one of those games that, like, my son started getting his own opinion, and he's like, "I heard this game's cool." I'm like, "I don't know what that is. Whatever. You're gonna spend your allowance and you want to play it? Sure, I don't care."
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. I can tell him that in case he wants to play it on the computer upstairs.
Yeah, there you go. Astroneer, Cuphead. Obviously, we've talked about that a little bit. Deep Rock Galactic, Defunct, Everspace, Fable Fortune, which I believe is a card game.
Yes.
Card
That's their
right.
Gwent base, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically.
Fallout Shelter, which is basically a mobile game that
That doesn't count
know,
because it's free anyway everywhere. So that's a
yeah.
bust. But yeah.
But it is the same game if you go from your Xbox to your PC though. So I mean, you can
Yes.
save that if you're
And
on
honestly,
the go.
that's another thing that they don't market well at all is the fact that your save carries over. Like that might entice some of those console players to try it because like, well, I'm not gonna lose any progress.
But here's one that I know you would love, Kevin, just based on this title: Fearful Symmetry and the Cursed Prince.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list too. I looked up the list and I was like, this actually might be something I'd be like, I might try this. But I have not yet. But yeah, it definitely looking at it, it's very 8-bit. So yeah.
It's a Kevin game.
Yep, Kevin game.
Forza Horizon 3, game of the generation. Everybody should play that game. It's just so good.
I love how that's just like colon Forza Horizon 3 colon game of the generation.
I don't see
Continue.
that on the list. The game of the generation edition is that
It's not on there, right?
Oh.
Game of the year. That would be the most arrogant thing in the world. Like what? We have a game of the you got a game of the year. We got a game of the generation. Stop.
Stop the presses. Forza Motorsport 7, which, fun story, I bought the Ultimate Edition of this game before it even came out. And I have yet to play more than an hour in this game.
good choice.
It's not as good as Horizon. I mean, once you have Horizon, you don't go back.
Well, I mean, that's the difference. Is like I know people that are the opposite, but they also race cars in real
Yes.
life.
Sure,
Yes.
then yeah,
Like
yeah.
they race on tracks, and they're like, "No, Forza Horizon is not a racing game.
Right.
Motorsport is life." And I'm like, "But that's not fun to tune gears on your transmission
no.
to get." No, I'm good.
It's
I'm good,
arcade
man.
versus simulator all the
It
way.
100%
It's like,
is,
no.
yeah.
Exactly. A game that I've heard is really good, Full Metal Furies. Have either of you guys played this game?
No, but I have heard about it. Yeah.
I heard it's like really, really good. Kind of
what
like
I've heard,
Castle Crashers-esque
Yeah.
in a way.
Yep.
No, say no more. What? Castle Crashers? Huh?
There you
like,
go.
That game is awesome.
So it sounds like Mitch will be letting us know his thoughts.
Yeah, let's check that out. Right.
Gears of War 4. We've spoken of that, which I have not yet played that one either. I need to play
Neither
that.
have I.
Well, it's been fun talking to you. I guess I'll talk
I
to you
know.
later. Have a good
I
day.
need
We're gonna
to
go play it
it
right now. So
I have it.
I hope so.
I have it digitally, so I can play it anywhere.
do I.
God of Light Remastered. Gwent, the Witcher card game, which I've played. It's not bad. It's okay. It's more Gwent. If you've played The Witcher 3 and you've got lost in Gwent, now you just go play Gwent and you're fine.
You don't have to
They've
go through all those
expanded it.
menus. Yeah, you don't have to go through all those menus or play as a walking character to a table. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
just cut all the BS out.
Yeah, exactly. Halo Wars Definitive Edition, Halo Wars 2, which I also bought the Ultimate Edition of Halo Wars 2, but I have not yet played that.
I bought Halo Wars 2, the Ultimate Edition, physically. Didn't buy it digitally, but Halo Wars was Definitive Edition was digital. That was the code that was inside. So I haven't gotten a chance to check that out on my PC. Halo Wars 2, fun, but nothing mind blowing.
Well,
I was
that's a
cool.
game, too, that really benefits from the Play Anywhere title because I'm more of an RTS guy on the PC. Like, I don't want to play an RTS on a controller, but being able to play both Halo Wars and Halo Wars 2, that to me screams I'm playing this on a PC, even though I could play on my Xbox because I would want to use that mouse and keyboard.
Right. That's the number one thing I think with that particular game, or just in general that genre. I will say on the controller, the best thing I could say is it didn't suck. It was obviously that's about as nice as you can say. It
Right.
didn't suck. Obviously, it's better with a keyboard and mouse, but it didn't suck on a like that was the number one praise that because I didn't play the first one. I just on a whim. Second one was on sale. I bought it. I've played RTSs before. I was like, let's check this out. The number one praise the first one got is like they were able to finally figure out controller RTS and it worked well. So I was like, well, obviously the first one got it right. They couldn't screw up the second one too bad. And it was fine. Like I said, I played it. I was like, not terrible. But yeah, if you could plug in a keyboard and mouse into the Xbox for that particular game, because I know you can with others, but I'm sure a lot of people may have enjoyed that.
Next, a game that I'm curious about that I want to play, but I want it to be super cheap. Hello Neighbor.
Yep,
That
right there with
game
you. I
looks
want to play it
interesting.
too. Yeah.
Killer Instinct. Now, this is a different one as far as the... when you play on a PC on Killer Instinct, I think that you would definitely have an edge depending on the type of like fight stick that you could use, because on Xbox, you're limited in your controller inputs, right? But on PC, you can actually probably have a lot more variety in your stick and have one that you've maybe used in other games before. So that I could definitely see giving the edge to a PC player, especially when it's a versus type mode.
Right. Also, too, because some of those games still limit functionality between console, like what exactly you can do in console and PC when they play against each other. So, I mean, like Gears, for example, the one they limited just campaign, but obviously Killer Instinct, you're going to be playing that. So that does have versus between console and PC players?
I do not know for a fact, but I would assume that it does, or at least has an option.
Yeah, that can get real hairy if, like you said, because there's 1,001 PC fight sticks that you can use, and like 3 or something on Xbox you can use. So yeah, it says play anywhere. It just doesn't mention the versus co-op, versus against PC or anything. But still,
I would assume that it's there because, I mean, that's kind of what it is. But at the same time, there could be an option that you can take to be like, hey, yes, I want to play with PC players, or no, just keep me within my console. That'd be a nice feature to build into all these games that have this ability.
That's what Fortnite does. That you have the option, like when you go to select and say, hey, I want to cross-play, it even warns you, like, hey, just so you know, you might play with PC people and they have an advantage. Like they clearly state it for you too, and you can turn it on and off when you want.
Yeah, that's like a checkbox that you can do, and I think you can do the same in Gears. Just turn that option off entirely so you don't go in there with less self-confidence than you had when you started. So.
Right. Little Triangle. That also looks like a Kevin game.
I don't know, man. It looks like a Nacho with a machine gun.
The Long Dark. I have that game. I've played it a little bit. A buddy of mine talked me into getting it, and I haven't gotten past very long. It's a survival game. You crash and you try to survive. I haven't gotten past like the tutorial area. I may never, but we'll see. Shadow of War, Middle of Earth. That was obviously discussed a little bit earlier. Overdriven Reloaded Special Edition. No clue. Looks like a top-down shooter. Phantom Dust, that game that they announced that was going to come back, is a free game that you can play. I haven't really played that. I launched it, and I was confused, and I turned it off, and I didn't go back to it.
I was really big into Phantom Dust when it actually came out in the first Xbox, because I worked at the game store, and I worked at Game Crazy, and when it launched, it was just one of those games that when it launched, it was $20. Now, most of the time when games launch and they're $20, they're trash, and nobody wants to play them. Right. That was like the stigma, which sucks, because that still happens with indie people, and then an indie developer tries to charge $40, and everybody's like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" But
you're an indie.
What? You're an indie? How can you charge me $40? How dare you? No, but Phantom Dust is odd. It's like a card game. You get a deck of cards that you bring into battle, but it's like moving around in real life, and you get to these points, and you can use these cards. It's a very odd game, and when they announced the remake, or when I freaked out, literally lost it. I was like, "Holy crap, it's happening!" And then they were just like, "Nah, never mind." And then they basically released the old version, and the only thing that bums me out is like the menus are still the same, so they're very dated, and it's just like, I played that Phantom Dust, and again, it was free, so nobody could complain. Right. It was free. Everybody should just be happy that it's free. But I played it, and it was cool. I had no idea it was Play Anywhere, though. So that's kind of cool. However, I don't know what the player count looks like now. But, I mean, it is a fun game, and it's free. Who cares? Try it out.
Yeah.
Cost you bandwidth. That's it.
Yep, exactly. Another fun game, which the base is free, but you have to buy add-ons, is Pinball FX3. And I've bought like the Star Wars tables, and I've actually gotten some of the Marvel tables too that they've sent me for discussion. And that's a fun. If you like pinball, that's fun. Like it's just it's nostalgic. It recalls back to the old days when you're in the pinball house or wherever, and you can play all these games or these tables that are referencing, like, the Avengers or Star Wars or things that you like that are more enticing to you. I think there's even some games that have a table based off of them. So it's kind of neat to have that ability, and that being a cross-play game or a Xbox Cross Anywhere game is another one that could lend itself to be really nice too if you travel and
Yeah,
you just
right.
want to kind of zone out and play some pinball. It's not bad.
And you could play that on pretty much a potato, like
Yeah.
if not that
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
So you could play that on whatever you want.
You can play it on a Dorito, as long as there's some sort of chip in there. It's just
Yep.
weird out joke.
Womp, 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 womp.
Moving on, Raiders of the Broken Planet, and I have no clue what.
Nah,
No,
it's another free game. It says.
Yeah, Recore, which is obviously one of those games that is an exclusive for Xbox, and this is one of the first games that was also Play Anywhere in that
Yeah.
first initial set.
Yeah, it was.
I still need to play Recore. I haven't done that yet. I want to. I have it. I just haven't had a chance to download it or have a chance to play it. And they did update it to have like some more like of a definitive edition, but it wasn't
Yep, it is.
anything extra to cost. It was just automatically updated, so that's kind of
Yeah, a lot of it was because I remember when it first launched, it played really bad. So I think they kind of patched everything out and gave it free to everybody that bought it. Just like, well, I mean, Injustice didn't have this problem with quality issues, but they did the same thing. If you bought the Legendary Edition, you got the Tournament Ultimate Edition that just came out with a free upgrade. So
Yeah, that was one that now it's on Game Pass, so I own it, but I actually bought it for my daughter because she asked for it. She was like, hey, that looks interesting. Bought it for her. Fun game, but that was definitely one that it had planned DLC for it, but also I think the game didn't perform as well as they were expecting. So when they
Yeah.
did that like definitive edition, they were like, by the way, here's that DLC that was supposed to happen. Here it is for free. So they kind of like made like goodwill on it and everything, and then they
Yeah.
enhanced it for X. So that's better. Like, good for you guys.
Oh yeah. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard.
loved it.
I never have played that one. I'm not really a horror kind of guy. Spooky games don't. That's not what I go for.
Oh, it's so good.
I only didn't play that game because it fell victim to I have 30 other games to play
Oh,
right now,
yeah.
and
Sure.
I'll get back to this when there's a Game of the Year edition, and there is now. But
Yeah, that's what I
I mean-
bought the gold edition. I had it in a price error from Amazon. I got it for $20 for the gold.
yep,
so I was like,
that's how you do
done.
it. That's exactly how you do that.
Riptide GP Renegade, which looks good, but
I played it. I played
yeah.
it on PS4 and on Switch actually. It's fun.
Every console except for the one that it offers on both, right?
Well, I got it for free on both of those
There
consoles,
you
so
go.
I
So
can't
you can't
complain. But
complain.
yeah, no, it's fun. It's very much like the arcadey type jet ski games you see, like you play like Dave and Buster's or something like that. So it's pretty fun.
That seems like a game that I would enjoy to play. It probably look pretty good because I think that's also enhanced for X2, if I recall right. And I think Josh may have reviewed that for us on the
Yep.
site.
He did.
Romancing Saga 2. Completely out of context, just looking at the title. Romancing Saga 2, huh? Yeah.
It had 50% less romancing than Romancing Saga 1. I just want to put that out there right now.
Well, I mean, this automatically tells you that first one was a failure, so they have to go through, and now this is the second one.
Yeah.
It's a sad story, but what happened to the kids? We'll have to figure out. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Ruiner. I'm a ruiner. Ruiner.
Speaking of a ruiner, no.
I don't know anything about this game. I've not seen anything about it, honestly. Either of you guys seen anything about Ruiner?
No, I've heard of it, but I don't know anything on it.
Not a single thing.
Rush Disney Pixar Adventure. I think, don't you have this, Kevin? Didn't you get some of these games?
No, I didn't get this one. I got Disneyland Adventures. Reading on this one, it didn't seem to be as well received as the other one, so I have not purchased it yet, but who knows? If my wife wants it, I'll end up getting it, just like Disneyland Adventures. It's the only reason I bought it, so.
Yeah.
That was one of those Kinect games on 360 that they like enhanced and then brought back with or without Kinect stuff though. Like, did they?
With or without.
Without, they took it out. So.
You can
Gotcha.
use a controller fully on that game.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sea of Thieves. We discussed that a little earlier. That was
Fun game.
also on Game Pass, so feel free to go check out Game Pass and play it anywhere. Silence, the Whispered World 2. Snake Pass, Songbringer, Spheroids, which I have. I bought it for like $1 because I was like, why not? It's Play Anywhere. I
I'm
want to
so
check it
sorry to hear you have hemorrhoids. Is that what you said?
Oh Jesus!
out. I bought them for $1, Kevin. Yes,
That's weird. You bought it for $1. I
And
mean,
I have to go buy an ointment that's like $5. It's a
That's
gimmick.
sick.
oh,
That's
my
sick.
spheroids are killing me.
Super Lucky's Tale. That's also, I think that's on Game Pass now.
It is on
it
Game
is.
Pass. I've downloaded it, but have not played it yet.
I
looks good.
downloaded it and played it.
It looks fun.
It's fun. It came out at an unfortunate time because it came
Yeah,
out
it
right
did.
around Mario, and it's like, come on, dude. But I played it, and it wasn't terrible. However, I was just there's just other things out, and I was like, let me just try this and see. Because Sea of Thieves, like I got Game Pass the month Sea of Thieves happened.
Yeah.
So I was like, Super Lucky Tale in there, cool. I wanted to check it out anyways. Looks great on the X. As far as it's just kind of basic and it's not bad, but it's also not blowing me away. So I was just like, oh, I got some other stuff to play. I'll come back later.
For instance, you may have Tacoma to play, because
Yeah.
that's also a Play Anywhere title, which I bought that, but I haven't yet played it. But I'll probably play that on my Xbox One X instead of my PC.
Right.
Looks good. Thimbleweed Park, that looks like a PC game to me. It's a point-and-click type
Yeah,
game.
buddy. I played that. I played and reviewed that one on Switch. Love that game, but yeah, it's very much a old school LucasArts adventure type game. So it's like perfect on PC, probably more so than console.
I bought that one. I do have it digitally, so when I do get around to playing that, I intend to play that one on my PC, not on my Xbox, just because that point-and-click type
Yep.
adventure, it makes more sense to me.
Totally.
Couple more that are currently available. Voodoo Vince Remastered. And-
Phil Spencer's favorite game.
Yeah, I know. He
Is it really?
quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, it is. He said it's his favorite game because him and his daughter played it when she was younger together. That's why it's his favorite game. And then all of a sudden it became remastered, and I was like, "Oh, shocker!" Okay, head of Xbox wants his favorite game remastered. He whatever he says goes. So
He gets
right?
it. That's right. Zoo Tycoon Ultimate Animal Collection. That also is like a tycoon type game, so I think that would benefit from mouse and keyboard input as well.
Yeah, it does. It's actually not bad though on console. Much like Halo Wars kind of got the RTS stuff down, it actually does flow much better than I expected. And my wife, and my sister-in-law actually were both big Sim fans on PC, and they both play this on Xbox One. They both think it's actually a lot better than they were afraid of how it was going to work, but they actually play it. They play it together, so they like it.
Nice.
Did you show him that new Jurassic World game?
Not yet, but yeah, they'll probably get in on that.
That game will probably be better than that movie, just saying.
Yeah, I like the last movie, but I did see the trailer for the new one when
It
I went to go
looks
see
terrible.
Infinity War, and I'm like, this is not the direction I wanted. Why is this a horror movie? Like it's.
But Chris Pratt jumps through a T-Rex's mouth at the last second. Isn't that?
I mean,
edgy and
that's
cool?
that's always great. I mean, Chris Pratt gives it at least a 50. On a scale of 50 to 100, but the rest I'm not sure is going to help. So
I was just blown away that was one of the highest grossing movies ever. I was like,
yeah,
really? Okay. It's okay. Avengers will blow it all away. It's fine.
It's going to win everything. So some Xbox Play Anywhere games coming soon that aren't yet out, but will be. And when they come out, they'll be part of the new program here. We Happy Few, which is a game preview title at this point. You can go check it out. But it's one of those game preview titles where I would suggest waiting until it actually releases, because from what I understand, it's more narrative driven, and I don't know if you want to spoil yourself with that for a game preview. But
I heard the game preview is actually like causing more harm than helping people make the decision on buying it in this one.
Right.
Or just buy it cheap and just don't play it or install it.
There you
Just
go.
do that.
That works too.
Buy it early so you get that cheap price, and then just hit X when it's downloading. Like, I don't need this right now. I'll just wait till they get the full game.
Exactly. State of Decay 2, which will also launch, I think that's this month, and it's going to be part of Games Pass.
3 weeks. Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, I said Games Pass. I meant Game Pass. There's no S after the game.
Pass the games.
I was gonna say, is anybody giving you just a hard time for Games Pass?
No. See, I usually give other people a hard time
will
for
be
Game
fun.
Pass.
No, that one will be good. First one was good. Everybody complained, hey, more co-op, more stuff to do with friends, and now they did that. So hopefully people shut up. But it's the internet. Who knows? They'll find someone else who can play.
Yeah, which I've never played the first State of Decay, but being the fact that this is going to be in Game Pass, I might give it a go and just see what's up, and especially if it's got those co-op elements, because I'm always into the co-op side of things, so I'll be looking forward to that.
It was so shocking as far as like it got announced, and I remember and it came out in June, which is awesome because games just don't come out in June.
Right.
So like the first one came out on 360, and out of nowhere, people were just like, "This game's ridiculous," because it just was super. It was basically like think in a game, like for example, Grand Theft Auto. It's a big open world, but you can't go into every building. You can't access every car. You can't access like. This is the game that literally did that. Like you could go into every single building and hunt for supplies. If your character died, they were dead and never came back. And you had other characters and other stats and other things you can do, and it's just shocking that happened as like a 360 arcade game. You know what I mean? It's just like, whoa, this is nuts. And, they did a good job. But there was a lot more that can be done with it. So that's what they're doing now. So hopefully people enjoy it.
Speaking about hopefully people enjoy it, please be excited for E3, Crackdown 3. I don't know.
Crackdown 3 is going to be awesome. Stop. Everybody
I
stop.
hope
Crackdown
so.
3 is going to be awesome.
I hope
want it
so.
to be.
I was not impressed with what they've showed. Like,
I wasn't unimpressed, but I wasn't like the thing, and I think I've expressed this on some of my other shows and stuff. If you set your expectations correctly, no game can suck.
that's
Here's
true.
the bar. Here's your expectations.
No, just the thing is, it's like what I've learned to do, because games, and I'm happy that some people have learned their lessons. Like when you showed off Watch Dogs for 4 years, and then it comes out and you didn't expect the greatest game and everything they showed you, it just leads to disappointment. If you find a game, you see a trailer and it looks interesting, go on media blackout and just stop. Just go off what you go off what you see and see how it happens. A lot of people with Sea of Thieves. I saw the trailer, I saw the E3 stuff, and I'm like, that's cool. It's enough that I don't need to see it because then I'm just going to get overhyped or underhyped.
Yeah.
And, you have to go into games with certain expectations. Crackdown, they knew the first one was something special. The second one was far less from special.
Yeah.
And they know what's up. The whole cloud destruction thing, I hope still happens, but also, too, I'm not going to not buy it if it doesn't have it. I just enjoyed orb hunting and chucking a car at somebody and doing those Crackdown things. If those basic Crackdown things are in the game and it's more of that and it looks better than the 360 one did, sure. Even if it didn't, I'd still be fine.
Yeah, it's just for me, like, and I played the first Crackdown back in the 360 days, and I did like it. I liked what it did. It's just this one looks to me, and I'm a fan of these games too, so I don't want this in Crackdown. It's like it's like the last two Saints Row games and Agents of Mayhem. Like, it looks just like that to me. So I'm like, well, then what's special about Crackdown versus this? And that's kind of where I was. From what I've seen, I was hoping for more, and I think that's where we may get more, and who knows, it may come. But for now, like, it's like, all right, I've already played this,
True. I get because the last couple Saints Rows are outrageous, but they're just next level over the top ridiculous. No, I just think as long as they stick with how like the cars transformed and how it was, leveling up your guy and not just abilities, like you getting your driving skill up by driving and then the cars changing based off whatever your driving skill was.
Right.
Like if they just stick to the core gameplay of it and add in those little tidbits of like destruction's more ridiculous. Online, there will be a mode where you can level the whole damn city if you want to. Like, if they just add those types of things, I think it could be cool. When they did with 2 is just there's enemies, and there's these weird creatures. And everybody's like, why is this turning into this type of game? And nobody they just keep the core Crackdown 1 that people liked, make it look prettier, add some nicer new features, and people should hopefully enjoy it. But again, it's all people's expectations. That's the problem. Just don't get crazy. Just think, if this is more Crackdown, I should be happy. It's about as much as we can say. But then it's going to come out and hopefully it's good.
Yeah, I just want to see it on E3, and it's going to come out on Game Pass. And
having a hard time passing those games because of your spheroids, huh?
Yeah, just so many spheroids are just ruining it.
But I do want to check that out when it comes out on. Did they get a date for that yet?
I thought
June?
somewhere said June. However, I don't know.
I think that's changed a few times, and it's a little less.
Oh yeah, it's
definitive.
definitely. Well, yeah, I think June was like the last like ish date. Like I don't think they never gave it a confirmed like June 13th or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like they just said
Yeah.
June ish.
What if they make this? What if they make this a game like on? Is it June 10th when they have their E3 conference and they're like, it's
Do
available
it.
now?
That would be really
it.
good. That would be good.
That would be a good idea.
I mean,
and then they're
it's
like, oh, by the
available
way,
now,
on
and it's in
Pass.
Game Pass right now. Just go download it, and it's Play Anywhere, and it hits all of it. Yeah,
Yeah. God. Xbox console exclusive. Game Pass Play any like if they add on more, it's gonna get to a point where at the beginning of movies, how there's like 17 companies that make it, we would just have to sit there and wait for Xbox to say everything that it does, and then we're like, oh yeah, there's a game trailer. That's cool. Let's watch that. Yes, please do that because more games should do that, and don't. And sometimes games that do it, we don't care about. So yeah, do that. Please do that.
Phil, I know you're listening, so go ahead and
Clearly, yeah.
release Crackdown 3. You drop the mic, be like, and it's available now during that conference. You'll get people just to impulse buy it because you have such a captive audience at that point, and you'll have an exclusive that has a pretty good sale rate if you do.
Or they'll just get a ton of people to sign up for Game Pass, which is what they want more.
There you go. And right
Do
now,
that.
by the way, you can buy it for $1 for a month. So
Do that.
There you go. Also, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which I believe is coming out this year, probably Q3. That's going to be a
I think that's
fantastic
what's
game, very artful.
Cannot wait for that. Game is so good. I want to
So
see
good.
how good that game can look on an Xbox One X.
Oh, it's just going to be fantastic.
Like HDR in that game. Good lord.
Yeah. And then finally, the last confirmed Xbox Play Anywhere title is Ashen, which I remember seeing the trailer for that, and it looked interesting. We just had to see more to see how excited we really should be for Ashen. So, that is a pretty big list of games that are Xbox Play Anywhere titles. So, it's not just a passing fancy, as you may have thought it was when the first ones came out, and didn't make a big splash. There weren't a ton of people talking about it, but it's continuing on. Games are launching right now that have that Game Pass and Xbox Play Anywhere compatibility, like Sea of Thieves and Crackdown and State of Decay 2, that are big games that you'll be able to play anywhere, and you'll be able to play that co-op on that State of Decay 2 between the Xbox player universe and the PC players, because they'll have that happy little medium where they can all talk and play together. Which, by the way, so in addition to the game saves and the crossplay, your achievements are also on either side. So I know Mo has his little, he bought a new laptop, and so he's probably pretty excited about all these games that he can install and now take and play them anywhere and get achievements for some of these as well. So it's a great feature in my opinion. Do you guys have any final thoughts on Xbox Play Anywhere, crossplay, things like that? Actually, no, but before I do that, talking just about crossplay for a second. You take a game like Rocket League or Minecraft, and you have the ability already to play with PC, but you add the ability to play with the Nintendo Switch on those consoles. Kevin, since you have the Switch and you play it more than I do, and I don't know if you have one, Mitch, but it is a interesting thing for them to have that ability to play cross-play between the Switch and the Xbox and the PC. What do you think about that? Do you want more of that? What type of games do you think would benefit most from that when you're looking outside of the ecosystem?
For me, I'm fine with it. It's not a big selling point to me, so if I can crossplay with other people, fine, but it's not something I'm going to go ape over. What they've shown so far, both Rocket League and Minecraft, I have no interest in either of them, so it doesn't really impulse trigger me to do anything. But you throw in the much rumored that Fortnite is coming, then that's something I'll totally take advantage of the crossplay for and play with my buddies on the go. But as of right now, there's not anything that would make me jump at the chance to play crossplay, but it's something I think that's always welcome, though.
Mitch, do you have a Switch? I think you're muted, buddy.
Yep.
Sorry about that. Yes, I do have a Switch. The thing is like mostly my Switch is used as my Nintendo machine. I mean, yeah, same thing with my PlayStation. Like if it's multi-platform, I buy it on Xbox instead. But I mean, there's nothing. I don't see any negative downside with the fact that you can play with other consoles. Period.
Yeah.
Like there's no downside unless you ask Sony. There's no downside to be able to play with other players on other consoles with that game. I'm happy that Rocket League and Minecraft are doing it. The crazier thing is how Minecraft's doing it, where they're like, you make an Xbox account and you sign into that on a Nintendo console.
On a Nintendo console.
Which is bananas.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, whoa. But also, too, I think Nintendo, especially in the goodwills of online, because their online is, the nicest way I could say is lacking. So them partnering with somebody like Microsoft to say that crossplay is happening is awesome for them. I think, like I said, I don't know if it would entice certain people. I think it's cool that the one thing I found out was the purchases that you do in Minecraft are also crossplay, which is
I didn't know
also
that. Okay.
yeah. So if you buy, like, the other thing that's weird too, the Halo skins work on the Nintendo version of Minecraft, which you're like, what the hell? That's just weird. But the fact that that's doing it, again, it's not something that's super advertised or anything like that. But again, it's just another check mark that they can just say, we got this as well. And, you know, the more people that jump on board with that, the better. Rocket League, I was on a kick with Rocket League where I was like, I played it for a good couple months and it was super fun. That's definitely a game that I could see getting on the Switch if I was like traveling, just because you can do that type of stuff. But as far as it goes, like, to be honest, when I buy games for the Switch, the thing in my head least is online functionality. So I'm just like, get this and everything. To one point what you were going to say, though, like, the only thing that I see on that list, and I have a list kind of in front of me, is there's so few AAA third-party games. There's Biohazard, there's Resident Evil 7, there's Shadow of War, and then the rest are either Microsoft exclusives or more indie games. I think if Microsoft, especially because like Shadow of War was one of those games that they had a marketing strategy with, like it came with Xboxes and all that stuff. I think if Microsoft were to have more of those marketing deals with those third-party people this upcoming holiday, but also entice that, like, by the way, this also is Play Anywhere, I think that would be a bit better for them, just to get more of that mind share, because unfortunately some people aren't fans of the Xbox franchises, and you know, it's unfortunately, because you know, Killer Instinct, Forza Horizon, Gears 4, those are all awesome games. Like, everybody should check those out. But I think if they had more of a push for third-party AAA games, like at the end of that commercial that they play, when the Xbox logo plays, and then they could say, buy on Xbox and play on PC as well. Like, have that be that end point of your commercial. That could do some more goodwill to make people want to do that as well. So, just a thought.
Was that your final thought on Play Anywhere?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Kevin, what say you?
So the only negative thing I'm going to say about this, we've kind of talked about all the opportunities and how it's good and how it can benefit people and they should do more of it. As Mitch was just talking, in my mind, I almost want them to not focus on it, and instead of getting more titles to be Play Anywhere, I'd rather have more titles on Game Pass. But I'm greedy, so that's just me. But in my mind, I'm like, I would be more enticed to be like, hey, I'll subscribe to your service, which we know Microsoft wants to push and get us hooked on. If you can get some of these titles, not necessarily day one if it's a third party, but let's say you know, within 3 or 6 months, like Netflix does. Okay, once it's on DVD, within, a certain amount of months, we know all the Marvel movies are going to be on Netflix for the time being. If they did something like that, that might be a cool enticer to get people to not only have Game Pass, but keep it, knowing that some stuff is coming down the pipeline besides their Xbox exclusives, which we know there's some great ones coming, but we know historically speaking, they haven't always had that consistent flow of great first party titles coming out all the time with them. It's been kind of hit or miss with certain things. So if they're able to plug in the gaps with some third party titles with the deal with like, Square Enix or, Ubisoft, something like that, that'd be pretty cool.
I honestly would not be surprised if they say Shadow of the Tomb Raider was going to be on Game Pass.
Yep, me either.
Again, just that relationship with Microsoft, because to be honest, Rise of the Tomb Raider may not have happened if Microsoft didn't do that deal.
That is very true. Yep.
So for them to be like, hey, that third game is happening because of what we helped do, we'd like some sort of marketing deal, Game Pass, Play Anywhere. Again, Microsoft could also help fund the game again, even though it's coming to other situations. Because, obviously, Shadow of War got some money from Microsoft just for the sheer fact that they had the marketing deal, but also it was Play Anywhere. Like,
Totally. Yep.
Shadow of War wouldn't have just gone, yeah, we'll give all of your Windows 10 users a free copy if they buy it digitally. Like, obviously, there was some sort of deal there, but I bet at this E3, that, as dumb as it sounds, that's going to be another one of those Xbox exclusive Game Pass day one. Like, that will be one of those things that will be said. I can hear it now. But I can imagine them doing it with some big third parties just to fill that gap. Like, if you can tell me each month you're going to have one, like, holy crap game come out, then that would make people keep the subscription. So, to be honest, I think it's worth it just with what they have. But
Totally.
it's not a matter of what's already out, what's new, and what's coming. So,
Yep.
And my final thoughts kind of echo what you guys have said too. Is like, get more titles that have this ability to have the cross-play, the Xbox Play Anywhere. Double down. Make those deals that you have to make up. Make Call of Duty a cross-play game. Make Destiny a cross-play or Play Anywhere game. Those are the type of games that you have a lot of people on there. Granted, they're going to be tough deals to get, but if you can nail them down and get that... Heck, if you can get Rockstar... because they're known to do some crazy stuff, to do a Play Anywhere thing. Sure, Sony's got a marketing deal, but you say Play Anywhere on that title, and people would be happy because the first Red Dead has not been on PC, and people wanted it forever. And if you give them an outlet to get that game, and it's Play Anywhere, and they can play with their friends on PC, and it's just a cultural experience, and Xbox is, again, good guy Xbox in the situation, you got to nail that down. Rockstar and you guys and Xbox seems to currently have a good connection because they have the backwards compatibility for the Red Dead Redemption game.
And,
yeah, and they've got the Xbox One X enhancements now for the Red Dead Redemption game. Oh, sorry.
Nathan's gone. He's
All right.
left us. The
I've
spheroids
left the
have got
building.
him.
No, no.
They did. He couldn't pass them. He could not pass them.
Oh no. To play on what he was saying though, Rockstar, to do that kind of deal with Rockstar, it's sad to say, but Microsoft's probably the only company that could write a check big enough to do that.
This is
Because
very true.
That is Rockstar. They have gotten to that point where Rockstar has that type of. They are the name of the company is perfect for their attitude because they literally could do whatever they want. They cannot do any wrong. They put out a tweet saying, hey, guess what? We're going to have a trailer come out Wednesday. And people lost their mind. And
totally.
They could do that. And they're one of the only companies that doesn't show up to E3, that doesn't care to show up to any of these events. And they're just like, hey, guess what? The game gets delayed. We're going to show you 10 screenshots, and you're going to shut up and like it. And everybody's like, yes, sir. Like, yes, Mr. Rockstar. We will enjoy the fact that
please do that. Give us more.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just love how Grand Theft Auto, like, when 5 was getting released, they put out a screenshot of like CJ in the water with a shark, and people freaked out. They were just like, look at that shark. Who is that? What is? And then they play into everything. Like, Rockstar changed their logo on Twitter, and it.
I remember that. Yes,
they changed it to a red R, and people had news stories on IGN about it. I'm like, they did was literally click 2 buttons, and they have a news story on IGN about this. This is insane.
It's very much a Half-Life 3 confirmed type thing whenever Rockstar does anything.
Yeah. Rockstar just puts a tweet out that's just 3 dots, and people are like, what could it mean?
Like, there's already people talking like, after Red Dead, they're doing Bully 2. And it's like, you have no ground to stand on to say that they're doing that. And everyone's been saying Bully 2 is coming for the last 10 years. But
right.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. So, yeah, Nathan dropped off, so we'll just carry on then. So I'll pick up the slack here. So I guess we pretty much covered everything. We talked about the expectation there. So, Mitch, for people who are not familiar with you, where can people from our audience connect and find you on the interwebs?
I am everywhere. Xbox, Twitter, all that at Mitch Power 1116. I also do my own podcast called Growing Up Gaming, which you can find at GUG Podcast. Basically, it's a podcast where I talk to random people on the internet about their history with gaming and how it brought them to where they are today and everything. So you could definitely find me there if you want to be a guest. So I didn't send me a tweet, and I'll be happy to have everybody on the show.
Yeah, definitely. So if you haven't listened, definitely check it out. A lot of people from our PSVG circle of friends, we've seen, each of your episodes featuring this person, featuring that person. I'm like, oh, I know him. Oh, I know him. Oh, I know him. So yeah, it's a great show. So tune in if you guys haven't checked that out. Looks like Nathan's trying to join back in, but I'm not sure how successful he's going to be.
Can you hear me?
Oh, he's returned. The Dark Lord has returned.
That was just so creepy because he acts like he died. And then, there's, because we can't see him on video right now. So it's just like a voice. It's like, can you hear me? Like, oh, man. We told everybody the spheroids got you, and that's what happened.
Yeah, they were everywhere, man. They were anywhere. Okay, so it sounds like you've let people know where you are, Mitch, that they can find you.
I did. Yes, you are correct.
We just didn't know where you were, so where to find you.
That's fine.
Yeah, we didn't know where to find you. We didn't know what to put on your tombstone. Like, the spheroids got him. We didn't know what to do.
If you see the end of Avengers, you know what happened to me.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no! We won't say, but oh no!
Yeah.
That's not a spoiler. It's fine. Okay, so Kevin, where can people find you?
Yeah, if people have listened to the show, they probably know where to find me. So at PSVG Kevin on the Twitters, you know me as the host of the flagship PSVG show and making appearances all across the board. We'll do a little plug. Check out the latest special we did with returning guests from Food Network, Chef Justin Warner, and myself sat down and discussed at length the Nintendo Labo and kind of went over our experiences with that. And I'll just tease, this is not the end of Justin and PSVG. There is more to come, my friends.
Did you get a Food Network chef on your show?
3 times now. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Nothing wrong with that.
Oh yeah, plugging that to the guy who pays the bills was like, you want to do what now? I'm like, trust me, people will like it, and yeah, people like it.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's too bad that he's a Nintendo guy.
Well, but see, that's the thing. He also plays PS4 and he plays on PC. He just likes to talk most about Nintendo. So
if he ever uses his PC to play a game on Xbox Play Anywhere, and he'd like to discuss it, let me know. Tell him to try Forza Horizon 3. I mean,
I can try and push it. I'm not sure if he's into racing. He plays Fortnite, and I play with him through my Xbox. Does that count?
I don't think so.
That's not an official Play Anywhere title. So.
Yeah. Well.
Trying to keep it on brand here, Kevin.
Oh, sorry. This is why I'm not invited.
Okay, well, thank you, sir. And so, Mitch, you've told people where they can find you and your podcast as well?
Yes, Mitch Power 1116 on Twitter, GUG Podcast on Twitter. Feel free to nag me there.
Cool. You can find me on Twitter. I am at Voiced by Nathan, or if this is the Day Space network of podcasts, I'm known as Voice Ed by Nathan, Sean, and Dave. Thank you.
Voice Ed.
But we do. This show obviously is. Oh, good gourd. Gourd? It's too late.
Gourd? Good gourds.
Good
Those are
gourd.
fantastic gourds.
I need to look and see what the Twitter handle actually is, because I forgot. Yeah, it's pretty easy. You can follow this show on Twitter at PSVG Xbox Empire. So I'm at Voiced by Nathan, but I also manage the PSVG Xbox Empire, where we do mostly Xbox related things. So check us out over there, as well as the PSVG main feed for the Twitter as well. You can find us at, is it still playsomvideogames.com? I knew there were some issues.
It is for now. We will be transitioning to just psvg.blog, but for the time being, that address still works, so they can continue as normal.
Okay, sounds good. So I think that covers it as far as this month's discussion. So thank you again, Mitch, for coming on, taking the time tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
And Kevin, thank you for slaving away and taking the time, the opportunity, out of your busy, monumentally busy schedule Kind
It
of.
was a pleasure, sir. This has been a long time coming. I will say, for all the junk you've given me for the longest time about Kevin, you should get an Xbox. I'm like, nah. I'm just gonna end up playing the Xbox exclusives on there. I am having fun with my Xbox. I will say that.
And that's what you're supposed to do with those things.
That is what you're supposed to do with those things. Well, congratulations on that, by the way. So you are new to the Empire, as evidenced by your first Xbox memory being on the 360, but you have been
Yeah.
brought back into the fold, and we are glad to have you. So, again, gentlemen, thank you for joining me. And you, dear listener, thank you for listening. I would actually take a moment here to ask you to rate the show, if you would so be kind enough to do so. Tell them how I can't talk. When it gets past like 9:30 at night, I just speaking function stop. So send us a review over on iTunes or Google, wherever you're listening. It's pretty easy to do. If you do so, that'd be great. You can also shoot us emails over on, actually for this one. So I set up an email address because Donnie wouldn't give me one. So we're gonna do a little cross promotion here. You can send us an email to empire@that'sentertaining.net. Donnie wouldn't give me one, so I made my own. So
Sorry, we're losing them anyway, so part of the conversion. We're good.
there we go. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Imperials, gamers alike, this is the state of the Xbox Empire, and we thank you for listening.
This has been a production of the Play Some Video Games Podcast Network. Find more great content at playsomevideogames.com.